Hi, this is Oscar November 7 Oscar Foxtrot, and welcome to the 8th video of the series From Zero to Hero with the Hermes Lite and the Thetis software. In today's video, I will explain more about pure signal technology, what it is. If you are new to the Hermes Lite, there is a big chance that you have no idea what pure signaling is. It's something very unique of the Thetis software and of the Hermes Lite. So what is pure signaling? Okay, so let me first explain you what it is. Pure signaling is a system where the software and the hardware, they work together to clean up your transmitted signal. So it's going to ensure that there is a greater linearity between what is intended to be transmitted and what is actually being transmitted. So easily put, it filters your output signal, makes it cleaner, and prevents eventually splatter that you might create when you're operating on the radio waves and you're transmitting. So many people, they don't realize, but pure signaling is built in automatically in your Hermes Lite. So it's on a golden plate, it's for you, it's there, and you can use it. So there's no special hardware required, and it works with the combination, of course, of the Hermes Lite with Thetis, and it's also available on the Anan radios. That is also the supported radio for the Thetis software. So this feature is quite unique to these SDR systems, and it's a software configuration that is done by an American guy. Don't ask me the call sign. I think it's November 0, blah, blah, blah. And he actually came up with the idea of doing pure signaling. So easy put, what happens is that your radio is going to be in duplex mode. Duplex means that you are going to receive while you're transmitting. So if you do not enable the duplex, you will not be able to do the pure signal, because you need to receive your signal to see what's going on, to see how clean the signal is, and eventually clean it up. So the first thing you need to do, of course, before you transmit is going to define your bandwidth, so the transmitted bandwidth. For example, here you can see over here, this is where my bandwidth is programmed, and you can see that I have a bandwidth of more or less 4 kilohertz. To be more precise, it's going to be 3.980 kilohertz, but that's actually hertz, but that's actually so it's 3.980 kilohertz. So this is the bandwidth that I'm transmitting on. And the reason why we want to have pure signaling enabled is because we just want to have the cleanest possible signal. And there are two versions of the pure signal system. And the first version that you will find is the internal pure signal system that is already there in your Hermes Lite. So how do you actually enable the feature? You have to enable the duplex mode. So this means when you click this button here, that you will actually make your Hermes Lite go into receive status also when you're transmitting. So it can listen to your signal. And then you will have to enable the pure signaling automatic attenuation control. So, and that's done by this one over here. This actually will attenuate the signal, the RF signal that comes from your transceiver into the Thetis software and into your Hermes Lite again. And it's going to adjust the attenuation to a reasonable level so it can analyze your transmitted signal. So to enable it, the next thing you need to do is go to linearity. It's right here on top. And when you click here, it will open up the Pure Signal 2.0 window. Okay, so try to copy the configuration that I have. I don't care about these three features here. I don't care about the MOX here. I just leave it the way it is. And then I want to be sure that pin map and stable is enabled. Now, what pin actually means, pin is an intelligent way of understanding on how your signal is distorted. So pin provides this extra information to make it easier for the software to make correction on the unpredictable signal that is being modified eventually also with an amplifier. Okay, so the next thing you need to enable is going to be STBL, which stands for it's a filter actually, and this some amplifiers, they have like a memory effect. So it can be just the amplifier that's in your Hermes Lite, and it means that the signal might get distorted because there's a little bit of a lag, and stable will filter out these memory effects, so pure signal can focus on the distortions and try to clean up your signal. I haven't found any information about what MAP is standing for and what it's used for, but it seems to be something very specific, so don't ask me what it is. So then you have TINT, you can put it at 0.5, that's the default settings, and click here on default. And when you click on default, it will configure the set PK. It has to do with, I think with offset or something like that, but don't ask me exactly what it means. It's out of the scope of this tutorial. I just want you to be a good user of the Hermes Lite and forget about the nitty-gritty, the complicated stuff. So just click on default and it should display 0.233. So as I told you, there is two versions of the pure signaling. Everything I'm explaining here is actually applying on the two versions. On either, and these are the two versions, either you have the internal pure signaling, that's what is native in your Hermes Lite, and then you have also the external pure signaling. I will come to that in a few moments. Let me just explain you first how the filtering is enabled. So with all these settings set, you can also click on Amp View here, and when you click on Amp View, okay, you will be able to see how the linearity is going to work. Here at the bottom, if your waterfall has this as a footnote, just open it up so you have a better view on the pure signaling feature and how it's going to be working and if it's doing the job. And then when you start to transmit, you will have a much cleaner signal. So if I transmit now, you will see that it's red and then it becomes green. And it means that right now I'm at very low power. In this moment, I am actually cleaning up my signal. Okay, so I get a correcting status, and you can see the value over here. You see the different colors. The different colors here is going to indicate if the signal is too strong, too weak, or is good. So when it's green, of course, obviously good. When it's red, it's too strong, and when it's yellow, it's correcting, it's working. And I think there is another color, I don't remember, that means that the signal is too weak. Now, when you actually start to transmit, one thing I forgot to tell you is also to enable AATT. How do you enable this feature? It's the automatic attenuation. You just double click it. So if you see SATT, double click it again, and it will go to AATT. Okay, this will enable the automatic attenuation, and it's required when you're going to use pure signaling, because without the proper attenuation, the pure signal will not be able to compute the signal receiver and the intended signal that needs to be transmitted. So because the signal is going to be either too strong or too weak. Okay, so be sure that this one is enabled. Now it will change when you DX ATT, as you can see it, but this is going to enable the pure signaling. As you can see, and most of the people who know me, I like ESSB. I like the feature of going wide. It's a point of discussion. Some people, they are extremely angry because you go like a little bit wider than everybody else. But in my personal opinion, if you have a very clean signal and you're going 4K wide, you probably use less bandwidth than somebody who has a very dirty signal making splatter all over the place, up to 3-4 kilohertz above and below their intended bandwidth. And they will probably consume much more than 4,000 hertz, so 4 kilohertz in bandwidth. So it's a question. Of course, when the band is quite busy, I'm gonna decrease the bandwidth that I'm using. Now, what it does, many people, they don't know what it does, but when you actually open the bandwidth, you're going to be able to hear more. So the frequency range of the audio that you are transmitting and receiving is going to be more clean. You will have higher tones, you will have a warmer depth in your audio quality, will be much better. So the higher you go in bandwidth, the better you will have as an audio experience in receive. And if you are in transmit, and if you are receiving with the same bandwidth, you will be able to enjoy the beauty of ESSB, which stands for extended single sideband, and have a very beautiful, like an FM broadcast style of an audio in single sideband. Okay. One more thing I would like to point out, that there are the second version of the pure signaling, and it's important that you understand the difference. So basically, as I told you, when you go into TX mode and you don't have an external pure signal system, it will automatically attenuate over here, okay? But when you have an external pure signaling signal bringing into your Hermes Lite, and I will explain you right away what it is, the signal is going to be stronger than the RF that is internally in the enclosure of your Hermes Lite, and it's going to actually be the pure signal attenuation will be much higher, and it will actually analyze this particular signal. So what is the external one? This is how it looks like. Okay, this is a sampler. Okay, so it's a linearity sampler. This here is what you put behind your amplifier. Okay, this is a VK3 amp pure signaling, or not pure signaling, but sampler. Okay, and with this sampler, what it's going to do, the word says it's by itself, it's going to take a sample of your transmitted signal. Okay, and the antenna goes in over here, or it goes in over here and goes out on the other side, and this will go to the antenna, and this will go to your amplifier. So in fact, you're going not to analyze the signal that is internally broadcasted into your receiver in the Hermes Lite with the first version, but here you're going to analyze the signal that comes out of your amplifier, because your amplifier might be distorted, might make splatter as well, and it's going to analyze, and when it sees that the signal is not clean enough, the software is going to correct the outgoing TX signal, and it will clean it up. Now, what is in here actually is not much. I bought this from VK3 amp. I can certainly recommend it. It's rated up to 1.5 kilowatts. So most of the countries, they have the legal limit of 1.5 kilowatts. So you can analyze your signal at the output of your amplifier. I think it can go up to 2.5 kilowatt, but basically it's for the legal limit. I have made one myself that I'm going to use in my operation in Thailand. And this is how it looks like inside. So basically, you have the input here or here. It doesn't matter because it's just a bridge. There is a coaxial internal coax cable, RJ213, and I just kept the plastic around it, and it goes from the center, the core of the SO connector here, to the core of the SO connector over here. And basically what it has is a ring, a ferrite ring here with some windings, a couple of resistors and also a potentiometer. And this is just to level the output signal that comes out here, and that needs to be fed into your Hermes Lite. Now, the Hermes Lite does not have by default the port for the pure signal feature. So I will link in the description for those who are interested the schematic and what you should do in the Hermes Lite to make or to add a port to capture this signal that comes out of this SMA connector over here. And you need a SMA cable going from here, a coax cable from here to the Hermes Lite, the new port that you need to add. It's very simple. There's nothing special to it. It's just you need to solder. Okay, so if you're not very good in soldering, you need to just to solder that little cable where you have that connector on the back of your Hermes Lite. You need to solder it in the Hermes Lite, but it's at that jumper, the jumper that goes between the main board and the filter board. So that's where you need to actually put these breadths. I will put the schematics, okay? So basically, that's it. And this one is working as fine as this one. And this is, I think, about 100 euros, I think. And this one, I made it for... the enclosure is 10 euro. The two connectors here, 2 euro. This 15 euro, maybe 20 euros maximum. And then also the potentiometer, let's say 20, 25 euros. So I just have assembled it. It took me about 2 hours to make it, or 1 hour, and I was okay. So yeah, basically that's pure signaling. The beauty of, and this is something I just want to point out, if you have an amplifier, preferably really consider using an external pure signal system with a RF sampler that's going to just sample. It's just going to listen. It's just going to take the RF and bring it back to the Hermes Lite. So the Hermes and the Thetis software is able to compare the output signal that comes out of the amplifier and the intended output signal. And when there is a mismatch, it's just going to correct it. And you can see it very well. It also, this is a side effect. This is a feeling that I have. But when I turn on pure signal and I'm talking on the radio, I can see for a half a second that it's starting to correct. So you see on the waterfall like a lot of junk, and then you see that it's very clean next to the railway, I would say, where you're transmitting. And I can feel that power that is being lost in the splatter on the side of your signal is being pushed inside this channel again. So you can see actually also when you're transmitting, like, you get like, when I'm going with the amplifier, like 800 watts, and then suddenly when that pure signal kicks in, you see that power going up because it's just recovering the power that's actually not intended to be there and push it into that channel. So it's quite a beautiful feature. There is no other radio in the world that has this feature because it's built specifically for the Hermes Lite and the Thetis software. Then this is it. I hope it was useful. It clears up quite a lot of things, questions that you have. I am going to put the links about the filter, or the sampler that I have made. I will also put there the details of a link on the internet where they explain you where you should solder that little cable. I will put the link also where you can buy this cable on AliExpress, for example. And that's going to be basically it. So the next video I will actually, and you can see on my screen here, I am going to talk more about personalizing the Thetis software. It's going to be extremely interesting. Because I'm going to show you how you can have all these little screens here. And I just tell you, when you go to the next tutorial, you're gonna be amazed, because you will feel like, you know, you're a pilot. You will have so many screens open, and you will see so many things on your radio that you will feel like being in the cockpit of an aircraft with all these different buttons and features that you can, you know, turn on and off. And I want you to have a feeling when you're using the Hermes Lite that you are the pilot and you're in a Boeing flying over planet Earth. Okay, so there you are. This is it. Wish you all the best 73s. Leave a comment in the comment section. I would greatly appreciate. If you want me to cover something, let me know in this series from zero to hero, but you're almost a hero. And wish you 73s. Bye-bye.